Namaste, my friend. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Conference, Grace in an Age of Distraction. My name is Happy Jack, the founder of Happy Jack Yoga University and a Master of Divinity student here at Harvard. And this is our ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing speaker series with monks and scholars and yogis and thought leaders. And as is the case today, individuals who've been living, been walking the spiritual path for many, many decades. And it's such an honor to be here with you. As of now, we've got over 3,600 registrations. Most are watching the recording. And thank you for those also who are here live with us. We'll have some time at the end for Q&A. So if you prepare a question, get our attention in the chat or raise your virtual hand. And really our intention is to engage in real conversation, to drop our guard, to be real, to be open, to be authentic. And that is certainly the intention for today. So I'm going to spotlight our dear guest while I say a few words before we bring his mic on. Now, to be honest, every other speaker, sent a bio so I could read their bio. At this stage of life, my dear friend Atreya Rishi Prabhu, he does not have a bio prepared. And so I took the liberty of preparing a few words based on our friendship. So my friend Atreya Rishi Das, he was born in 1942 in Iran, and actually his family fled from Iran to America at the time when he was a young boy. He ended up going to school. He excelled in school when many of the other kids like myself were off partying. He ended up really taking his studies seriously. He fast-tracked through school, earned a Ford Fellowship, and he actually ended up getting offers to many different prestigious institutions and ended up here at Harvard. So 60 years ago, if you can imagine that, 1965, Atreya Rishi was a student at Harvard Business School. And at the time, he really didn't resonate with the capitalist mindset. It served him. He got a lot of tools there, but really didn't like the mindset and the intention coming out of just business school at the time. 1968, he meets the devotees, kind of first interaction with the devotees. Seeds were planted, and really in 1970, he officially became a disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he was a very active member from 1970 through 1979. He was very close with Prabhupada himself, a big part because of his maturity. For us, he was 28 at the time when he joined, and to us that seems very young. But considering to many of the other devotees, we met our friend Rukmini, who joined when she was 16, and many of the others were in their early 20s. And so because of this kind of maturity and he was working and had a business, he developed a very nice relationship with Prabhupada, ended up becoming a member of the GBC, the Governing Body Commission. He was asked to be president of the GBC by Prabhupada, and there was a difference of opinion with some of his godbrothers, but he ended up opening a temple in Tehran, Iran. Twice he welcomed Prabhupada to Iran, 1975 and 1976. You can read about that in the Transcendental Diary by Hari Shauri. And for myself, I've seen many photos of Atreya Rishi on morning japa walks with Prabhupada and giving talks and serving in different ways. And of course, many of us know that in 1977, Prabhupada passed away. He left his body, and Atreya Rishi Prabhu was there, right up until many times, many visits. But the last time they met was a week before he passed. And actually, he was traveling back and forth between Iran and India, bringing fruits and sweet lemon for juicing to nourish Prabhupada at that time. And actually, something very dear to me, in 1977, he purchased this japa mala in Mayapur, and so gracefully gifted it to me. And this is a very special memento that I cherish. And So, anyways, after he left, Prabhupada left his body. There's a little bit of difference of opinion in the leadership. The majority of the leadership were sannyasi monks. Atreya Rishi Prabhu was a householder, with a business, and so just a little bit difference of opinion. And so he left the movement in 1979. Some may assume that he left Krishna consciousness or he left bhakti, but actually he simply stepped away from the institution in order to remain Krishna conscious, in order so that he could continue to nurture his bhakti practice. And so over the years, he met many spiritual teachers. He reconnected to his Muslim roots through the Sufi tradition. He was asked to take senior leadership positions, murshid, really a senior guide within that tradition. He became exceptionally successful in business. He's now a philanthropist and an activist, and with many projects around the world and giving back to those in need. And then fast forward to 83 years of life, but in 2021, that's when we meet. I was we were at a place called Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida. I was there, teaching yoga for Tony Robbins. Anytime I'm teaching for Tony, I stay at Hippocrates Health Institute. And actually, Tony's wife is going to be speaking here at this conference on April 3rd. So please join for that. And I sat down for lunch with this nice elder man. And I'm often curious to speak and to engage with elders and to see what I can learn. But truthfully, I remember in that moment, kind of being busy and needing to be productive and thinking, well, there's probably not much I'm going to have in common with this man, but we'll have a nice little interaction. And then, of course, I got to know your story and was truly blown away. Since that moment, we've become friends. We meet regularly in Zoom for heart-centered conversations, sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly, sometimes multiple times a week. Atreya Rishi has guided me in many moments of need. And what I love is that though he's a practicing Sufi, he really fans the flame for my love of bhakti and this tradition. And I can always sense that, you have this pure love and this desire to serve, and there's no agenda. It's so beautiful. Our relationship is beautiful like this because we can be completely honest with each other. We can really be real and open. Now, he will claim that in our friendship, he receives so much more than he gives, and that's the devotee attitude. But truly, I receive so much more from this wise man. He's my dearest friend. Sometimes he jokes that I need more friends. If I'm considering him my best friend, he's like, you got to have some more friends. But whether double my age, he truly is a dear friend. And it is an absolute honor to welcome Atreya Rishi Das, also known as Marz Attar. Our session today is Living the Life of Bhakti in this domain of separation. My friends, if you are ready to welcome this beautiful soul to the screen, please throw your arms in the air and loudly chant, Haribol! Brother, it's so beautiful to have you here with us. Thank you for taking the time. I know actually if you just hit the unmute button. Yes.
I would request that we take a moment.
Yeah.
Take a moment. Thank you so much. You tried. You tried. You had many wrong information, but thank you.
I was gonna
say you were beautiful. Thank you always. But the stories. What is important is what is behind the stories.
Mm.
So let's take a moment.
Yeah.
And just connect with our hearts, connect with our intentions. Mm. Find the love in our intentions. And remember our connection to the divine spirit that is present in every aspect of creation, and in our hearts. And feel the gratitude for being together, for this opportunity that brought us together. For the love and wisdom behind the intentions that brought us together. And feel that gratitude while you're also feeling the breath. Yes, I'm grateful for your presence in my life and the gifts that you bring to me, Happy Jack, by your openness, by your curiosity, by your presence, by your continuous search and thirst for truth, thirst for love. And, it satisfies me in many ways to be able to support you and to support all these beautiful people you've gathered here. So your question was, what was it that, what is this, what is in this for me?
Yeah.
Why do I claim that you have helped me more than I have helped you? I will try to answer that.
Okay.
Because actually, one of the lessons I learned in life is that if your intention is pure and is consistent and connected to a purpose and an aim, which is genuine and essential, and you maintain that intention, and regardless of how many mistakes you make, regardless of how much you fail, still there is a force, there is a wisdom, there is a love in this creation that will protect you.
Beautiful.
So for me, when we met 4 years ago, I was at a stage of my life where I was evaluating my life, where I am evaluating it. This is the last stage. I've done my life. I have done everything I have to do. Now it's just the closing chapter. And in this closing chapter, you look at your background, you look at your story, you look what happened to you, and you start seeing the light in it. And you start seeing also your failures, your failed relationships, your errors, and you repent and you correct and you clean. But ultimately, on that contemplation becomes an important part of life.
Mm.
And so your role, you came in, I mean, you don't know, I mean, you're so many beautiful things and you're doing so many beautiful things. But you came in and you were looking at the history post Prabhupada. And you connected me to that history. So the question of, for example, why I left. First of all, it wasn't 79 that I left.
Mm.
It was 87, and there a lot happened between Prabhupada's departure and my resignation. But you see, a lot of my decisions at the time was based on being hurt, reactive, depressed. So there is nothing about it that I can brag about. But the intention was that what I was experiencing, that instead of love and unity, which brought me to Krishna consciousness, I was experiencing discord, confusion, and separation within our community. So instead of this, I could have said, okay, I can still follow my practice, which many people did. And I see them, they flowered. They stuck to their practice, they went deeper, they let the institutional conflicts and aspects do their thing. They didn't pay attention. They paid their attention to their journey, to their practice, and to cleaning themselves and polishing their bhakti.
Mm.
And you see them, you see so many flowers.
Mm.
So you showed me these, but I also see that I had certain needs. I had certain essential needs. It isn't about one teaching or another teaching. It's about what you're capable of getting from the teaching and how much of it you can digest and live.
Mm.
So in my case, I needed to learn lessons. And these lessons were provided for by God. And so, and all the help I needed was provided for. And seeing this connection, so connecting to my history, connecting better to my history, I started to understand my own life.
Wow.
And the stages I have been through, and how in every aspect of my life, God's hand was present,
Mm.
including the mistakes I made. because I now see those mistakes and try to learn from it. That doesn't mean that I have arrived anywhere. It means that, I mean, the journey continues, and you know, so maybe we just have this conversation, and what do you think about what I just said?
Yeah.
What does it make sense to you that for me, what I received was what I'm receiving in this relationship is exactly what I need, and I'm grateful for it.
Well, my friend, thank you so much for your kind words, and um, just thank you for your presence. Just every word, I can see students taking notes. Just the way that you articulate yourself and the depth, the wisdom that comes through is so beautiful. And so thank you for that, and helping us understand, part of your journey. And you were talking about whether we arrive there, and I'd be curious to know, like, is the spiritual journey, is there some destination that we ever arrive at, or is there, like, stations along the way of consciousness, that we evolve? And actually, now that you're connected to your Sufi tradition, be curious to hear how that the journey is described from a Sufi standpoint.
So I'd be happy to share that with you. Destination is self-discovery, who we really are. We are part of this beautiful creation. And everything in this creation has a service, has a role. And every one of those roles are connected to every other role. And every one of those roles are full of compassion, mercy, usefulness, support for others. So that's our nature. So to find that nature, which is love, that's the destination. And you can't reach to that destination unless you connect to the one who is the householder, who has this house, who created this house, who is the one who is at every moment present in everything, including your own heart. So that destination, so these teachers come because he or she, that divine intention, that divine wisdom, you can call him by so many beautiful names, all of them valid. This where I was with it, so the help, I know where I was. So it's part of this creation of mercy that help and guidance is available. And that help and guidance appears in forms of prophets, saints, religions, traditions. We can't ignore and neglect the indigenous cultures, traditions, which is to some extent, fortunately, still a little bit alive. We haven't killed that one yet completely, despite all the crimes we have done. So it is an inner journey. So in the Sufi tradition, this inner journey begins. There are basically 7 stations. And the first station is discovering the stinking nafs. Nafs is the one who is parodying as I, my identification. To discover that this identity that I carry is full of habits, traumas, separations, identities, addictions, false desires, and seeing that I am not that. That's called the commanding self. In Sufism, that commanding self's name is nafs. Freud and Carl Jung call it they put so much light on ego, and that's it. That's who we are. That's who's talking is the ego. So that's the first station, to see this and to say, I don't like it. And I want love. I want beauty in my life. I want light. I thirst for that. There's somebody there. That's called a witness. A witness is born when you see it, because this witness is separate. Separate that guy is taking a little distance, watching. And the first habit that the witness exhibits is blame. That's the second station. Blaming self. Nafs amare, nafs, yeah. Anyway, the blaming self. You blame everything, everyone. You judge everything, everyone, including yourself. It sits in your head, and it issues judgments for everything. And with that judgment, you're missing what is there, the beauty. But this blaming self is so struggling against that blaming self, freeing yourself from the blaming self. Then there are practices, of course. And the practices are very similar in most traditions, such as remembrance. These practices are to connect, even temporarily. So then the third station is when that connections happens, begins to happen. From time to time, you start downloading light. And from time to time, you start getting inspired to give and to engage in bhakti. So that's the third station. Now, by the grace of Guru, you could get engaged in the first station or before even the first station. That's another story. That's what happened with Prabhupada. So the key to spiritual life is that fourth station, the next station. Because that, according to Sufis, that is where the flying begins. That's like the airport. You arrive at the divine airport to travel in spiritual sky.
Wow.
About spiritual sky. That's called, that fourth station, called mutmainne, which means certainty. Certainty. I mean, the aim of all these practices is to come certainty, fate. Whether understand or not, you have certainty of the presence of divine reality. From there are three more stations. I won't get into them. But if you're interested in them, read Rumi, read Hafiz, Maulana, read Prabhupada,
Beautiful.
read my guide, Siddhi. He speaks from the highest station.
We'll share
from the highest.
For those who are watching the recording, underneath we'll share some links to some of these books, the Prabhupada books, the Siddhi books, the Rumi books, some recommendations. Thank you for providing that framework, at least up until the critical stage. I'm not there yet. I'm not at the divine airport, but my goodness, I guess that's why I seek association by teachers like yourself that can help us on the path there. But it's beautiful. It's such a gift.
So part of it, you see, there are a lot of rules around it, along the practice. One of the essential things is that you can't do it alone. You need a guide, you need a teacher, you need a guide, you need a teaching, because teachings are different according to cultures and traditions and places, different locations. Now, today, every location is connected with these airplanes, but it didn't used to be that way. So each tradition has different practices, and you need to have those practices and guidelines.
Yeah. Could you say a little bit about that? I mean, you talked about practices. We could use the word sadhana in the Bhakti tradition. And could you talk a little bit about the role of sadhana, our spiritual practice, and really, how to stay, aligned with that aim in our day-to-day life? But then also you talked about community and the importance of being on this path with others. Could you just say something about those two, sadhana and sangha?
Well, the prerequisite of what we're talking about, the prerequisite of it is honesty and sincerity. Now, sincerity is a relative term. Honesty is a relative term. We all have some sincerity. But the goal of all practices is to make that connection. To make this connection. Think of this creation as a storehouse of energy totally connected with each other. And here we live, because of the choices we have with this mind, we are living in separation. So like that first, I had a opportunity to listen only to that first program you had, where our beloved God brother was sharing the practice of remembrance.
Sachinandana Swami lecture, yes.
Yes, beautiful. But that practice doesn't mean that the practice is depending on the stage of journey we are in, the station we are in, that practice is enlivened with different kind of energy and qualities. So, for example, for me, I was a devotee, a Hare Krishna devotee for 17 years. And I did my rounds. And I did my rounds. But, you know, how was I doing my rounds? When Prabhupada came to see us, this recent memory that you shared, and I read about it, I realized that Prabhupada is sitting there and giving me love when I read the stories, giving me so much love, so much light, so much attention. And I am half there and half in my office. And I don't finish my round. So I continue my practice in the car while driving to the office. So what I'm saying is, this journey is all about who is doing it and where one is. Unless you reach that level, that the practice helps in the direction, but you also need a life practice, a life practice of giving, a life practice of making it your mission to make somebody else happy, to give. So so bhakti has those two aspects. The practice helps, but you need the what Prabhupada would call devotional service. Devotional service. Now, this can get interpreted in so many different ways. I'll share my own interpretation of devotional service. Is not going to the street and hassling people for money, but it is to find the love, devotional love, find that love in your life and give service, serve it. So that's my interpretation of service.
That's beautiful. And so thank you for that kind of insight into bhakti and the sadhana and the practice and embodying that mood of devotional service. And how about community? Like what is it? What is a true community? Why do we need community to survive?
I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's key, brother. I mean, I actually I had this mind is beginning to wind down. So I start with a talk, and some other thought comes in, and that one gets forgotten.
It
But
happens. It happens to me all the time.
but it's true. It's true. We can't do it alone. We can't do it regardless of traditions. We need the Sangha. We need community. Today, in this world of domination, in this world where another power, another negative power rules, a power of domination rules. For us to have a practice, to seek love, to taste love, to taste peace, to attain any of these goals in life, we need each other. We can't do it alone. We need each other with trust and honesty, which means in our communities, we practice love and we also practice openness. Meaning sharing what we are innerly struggling with and seeking help from one another. Just being a community of brothers and sisters and discovering that unity, because in that unity, if you discover that unity, is a taste of God right there. Definitely, that's a very important. In addition to the teachings and guide, we need community.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I'm going to ask one more question. And I know I got a message sent by text we're going to bring on, and then Sarah and George are also ready. But I wanted to ask, many times in our conversation, you talk about, intention and purpose. And I wonder, could you share why is aim and purpose essential in life? Why is it really essential for us to have that purpose, that direction?
Okay, each of us is run by our intentions. So where are those intentions coming from? If its intention is coming from my stomach or my body, this animal body, and a mind that is projecting and claiming love where there's nothing in it. So finding intentions that are useful is actually the beginning of spiritual life. Why am I here? And I tell you, all the teachings in Rumi or prophets, Jesus, they're all saying the same thing. And when we hear it, we're here to discover ourselves that is a loving self. We're here to discover that love. We're here to discover that connection. So that's intention. And for me, that intention is translated very young age to discovery of truth. Because in truth, you see that beauty, you see that intention, you see that the truth is also self-discovery. So you start with intention, and you allow yourself in your inner journey to wash that intention, clean that intention, deepen that intention, and then manifest as a purpose, a service. For example, what I'm describing is very uniquely exemplified in the life of a mother. You know, you get pregnant. What is born in you right there? It's a love. And you grow that love and you worship that love. That's why I'm saying this station of the woman, the station of nature as feminine. Discovery of that is part of spiritual life, and discovery of the role of the feminine in our life. I mean, these topics are key, but I think you should open up to questions or comments.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll do that. We'll get Sarah and George first, and then I've got a message coming in as well. Sarah and George, dear friends from Kent, UK, welcome.
Hi, Marz.
Thank you, Marz. Wonderful to talk to you. I've got two questions. The first one is, you were saying that you feel that you're in the final chapter of your life, and that you've been, reflecting on your life and have, made some regrets. I was thinking, if there was something that you wish you'd done better, or in your life, some kind of piece of wisdom that we can all take for our lives, what do you think we should do?
The purpose of this contemplation, I will answer your first question and then I'll ask you for the second one.
Okay.
The purpose of this is not self-remorse. The intention behind this search, inner search, is to discover mercy, God's mercy, and feel grateful for it. And you see, because regret, if the pain of regret, let's forget about this stage in your life right now. You came in, you were upset at the office and you beat the dog. Okay, so beating yourself on that is not going to help you. What is going to help you is to go in and meet the gentleman who beat the dog and understand why he was in that state. And seek help from your beloved to wash that away. So it's the same thing. You do this, what I just shared, much more intensely and internally at the older stage. If you have had a spiritual dimension in your life. Did I answer you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So my other question was, you obviously spent a lot of time with Prabhupada. Was there something that he personally said to you that was really powerful to you, that you can, it's just an instant memory for you, that was of a situation, and can give some kind of context around what he said and how that's helped you in your life?
I mean, when I think of a Prabhupada, what comes to me is a need to cry. Because I couldn't step up to really sense and taste the degree of love and mercy in every word and every gaze he was offering me. Of course, there were many personal exchanges, and special, I think one thing that he said, I mean, he said things, but I didn't get it 100%. But it happened. So in 1972, on the way back to Iran, where I was starting an office for my company and at the same time following Papa's guidance, I had a very special day with him in Bombay. And in that day, the story is long, but in that day, he said Krishna is opening the, I mean, basically the story's message was that Krishna is opening the door for you to gain wealth, to come to wealth. And, you know, I'm interpreting it in my own, you know, what am I going to do with my company? But it happens. It happened in a very different, very amazing way. So it creates life occasions where you then connected to bhakti, to service, to your essential goal in life. Thank you so much. Love to see you together.
So beautiful. Such a beautiful question, such a beautiful response. We're sending our love and gratitude to Sarah and George. I pray that we somehow bring you together. Sarah and George are members of our community. They're coming to India, many different retreats, and hopefully we'll grace your presence as well one day, dear Marz. But thank you for the question. Let's see, we got another hand up. You know this person, Marz. This is our beloved co-founder of Happy Jack Yoga. This is Hanna.
Hanna, hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here and for all your wise words and your love. And that's my kind of question to you, Marz. You know, through your friendship with Jack, we all have almost like a wave of your love. Like I'm describing the impact or the feeling that I get from you guys' friendship and then you in our community when you come and see us. Do you remember I told you after you had been with us, with the Happy Jack Yoga community, we had this feeling that everyone fell in love with you. There was a wave of love that you brought to the community. And I can see that in Jack too, and in your guys' friendship and exchange. And my question is, you know, how you talked about make it your mission to make somebody happy, like the devotional service aspect and the feeling of love that comes through you. Like if you are at the Divine Airport, you're like the antenna or the tower where they direct the flights or something. So what is that? Can you speak about that? And how do you, like, is that part of your bhakti? Is that part of you making or doing devotional service that we can sense?
So this love is God's gift. Because if it wasn't you, if it wasn't this occasion, I wouldn't have it. So this occasion is part of it. But in my everyday life, I have different occasions that happens. So what is the practice there of different occasions? So the practice this love, it's not like it's like candy in your pocket and you give. It's a moment of making that connection happen. And it takes a lot of effort and responsibility. Inner responsibility, the ability to respond to the beauty that is in front of you. So I have, so it manifests differently in different occasions. So in some places, I have to bite my tongue, my lips, and be silent for that love. And in some cases, so the practice of bhakti is really, you do the love until you get to the love. Meaning, you make that your compass. Not your compass so that you guilt yourself. And the measure you're after, the fruit you're after of that love is gratitude. Because it feeds you. When you get fed, you're grateful. And gratitude is coming from where? Because you see the hand of Allah in it. You see that there couldn't be love. If I just loved you without Allah, that's objectification. That's what we have done to our women. We made them objects of sex. A sex that's coming from the lowest levels of that divine tree that we have no connection with, no understanding. That's ruling a huge portion of the consciousness of humanity. So we stand to those realities. That's also love. We stand to the truth. We seek the truth. We live the truth. Our truth, the best we can. The best we can. We fail. We try again. Because Allah is unlimitedly forgiving. That's the universal law. It's not my law. It's not your law. It's His law. He forgives. He never stops loving you. You are in His domain, in His home. You are not. This experience on this domain is just a class. Identify with your true self.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. You said, I just want to say briefly, we're just wrapping up, but you said something about sometimes love is biting your tongue or holding back. And I'll just share a little bit of our story. Some of it, Marz. Hanna and I, we co-founded Happy Jack Yoga together. We were a romantic relationship for nearly 10 years. And a few years ago, we mutually decided to uncouple, to go romantically, go separate ways, continue serving this mission with their yoga school. And it's been relatively very, very smooth. Just a couple days ago, I'm back in Canada right now. Just a couple days ago, I was visiting Hanna, and we had a little bit of a disagreement about a table that I thought I was going to get. And Hanna was feeling, nope, she's going to keep it. And so there was some conflict, and I left in a huff. It didn't get ugly, but I left. And the whole way home, back to where I am now, I was chanting the holy name. I was chanting japa. And I found in that 30-minute drive, just the release of the frustration, the anger, and any of the emotions. And by the time I got home 30 minutes later, I felt at peace, and I could see that I wasn't being my best self. I could see that I was being entitled. I could see I didn't like my behavior. And so as soon as I got home, I messaged Hanna and I just purely apologized and said, I'm so sorry. You're right. This is your table. Like, just because I was using it, and just explained myself and apologized and said, I don't like this behavior. And then we got on a phone call, and Hanna was, a little emotional and also apologizing. And so quickly, we came back to the beautiful relationship that we share these days. And, so, I mean, that came from, in a way, biting our tongue and not letting it get ugly. It came from doing the sadhana, doing the japa. It came from the love and the connection. And, because there's many times in the past where it didn't go as smooth. And in that moment, we really were mature and we handled it well. And we just had such love for each other. And the second I hung up the phone, I won't share the details yet, but the second I hung up the phone, we got a phone call of just an amazing news. Let's just say that, some amazing news. And we don't see that as a coincidence. The fact that we acted from a place of love, we did the right thing. And then all of a sudden, like, it was almost like a karma thing. It's like we did the right thing and instantly got this news. I just felt like I'm just sharing that with you as our friend.
Beautiful what you share. It's beautiful, but I want to add something to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's not the end of the road. That's just the beginning.
Okay.
What you accomplish is just the beginning. Because there is a divine beauty in one another that you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
There, discovering that, that's why God put you together, to discover that. Still, you have a chance to discover that. It has nothing to do with sex.
Mm.
And that once you discover it, it's not just a table. You give the world, you give everything. That's what Radharani is doing when she is pouring the milk. And the milk is flowing over the cup.
Mm-hmm.
So you flow over the cup. That's the love we are after. And that's part of the intention, vision, mission that we're talking about. That's what a power plant means, high thinking. High thinking, meaning raise these intentions to higher and higher and higher, because ultimately that's where you will find full satisfaction and peace and freedom and joy. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'd like to meet you again.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I would
Both
love that.
and the rest of you.
Mm.
Yes. Get us together.
I love it. Thank you so much. Now everybody can understand why I'm messaging Marz every week. Please meet me in Zoom. I need your guidance. But let's send our love and high vibes to Hanna. Thank you so much for your question. Beautiful response. And Marz, Atreya Rishi Prabhu, thank you for the gift of your friendship. Thank you for being in my life. I had to hold myself back. I nearly was like breaking down, crying in tears a few times in this talk, but I didn't want to fall apart. You're just such a beautiful soul and such a gift. And I love you, brother. And I'm just so pleased that you're here with our community, and many, many more conversations and encounters to come.
Thank you.
So my friends, wishing you all an amazing rest of the day. We have another session in 1 hour. You're welcome to join if you're available. And otherwise, my friends, make it an amazing rest of the day, and we will see you very soon. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare
Haribol.
Krishna.
Many blessings.